I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit. You will see a situation 6 months after a situation.
One of the gang you should have just asked for.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my...
Looks like somebody just got iced out of the bad and bougie circle because Quavo and Offset might be back throwing shots, and the internet swears this time it's done for good. The official story? Offset was just chatting about lies, growth, and cause and effect on Joe Budden's podcast. But the street version? That man basically hinted, blow up the industry and let the block connect the dots straight back to his own cousin. And just like that, folks started digging up the old receipts, shady lyrics, sly interviews, and side-eye moments, and realizing maybe this rumored betrayal was the crack that finally split the Migos for good. Given that these men were family, not just friends or co-workers, but straight up blood, you'd think there'd be a line they'd never cross. But nope. If the whispers are true, Offset stepped over a line you can't ever step back from. And word on the street is, Quavo didn't just get mad, he made moves. If that's the case, we might be staring at a brand new chapter in the Migos' Cold War, one that could get real messy and way too bougie, hooking drama to the T with an ooey. So let's break it down.
I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit.
Offset strolled into that Joe Budden interview, acting like he had zero to prove, calm and cool, rocking that unbothered vibe like a diamond chain. But the second the talk shifted to broken relationships, hurt feelings, and cheating, the energy flipped quick. He started dropping gems that had the streets leaning in with both ears wide open. Translation: this man basically hinted he knows exactly why Cardi's been spotted with Stefon Diggs, because he's done her wrong more times than the internet could ever keep track of. And of course, Joe Budden couldn't resist, hitting him with one of the messiest receipts of all time.
If me and Mel are together and I cheat on her and I go get
some
or
and then I end up with
somebody that's
Idris.
He reminded everybody that Offset's roster was far from short. And yes, Edie's name slid right in there alongside Chrissy and Rock and Aries. Now that's the kind of lineup that can flip a situation upside down real quick. It looked like he wasn't denying a single thing, just letting it sit heavy in the air for everybody to piece together themselves. It was that quiet wink, wink energy, the kind where you say everything without actually saying it. By the time Joe wrapped up, it didn't even feel like an interview anymore. It was giving full-on confessional vibes, but without the priest. The way Offset kept it vague, never confirming, never shutting it down, made it crystal clear. If the rumor mill wants to spin out of control, he's not gonna stop it. And that's when the street started whispering. Because if Offset's shade was bold enough to air on camera, how close are we to Quavo making moves off camera? Remember, Quavo and Saweetie's fallout wasn't just a breakup. It was pure reality TV drama, without the show credits. Elevator scuffles caught on TMZ, the infamous Bentley repo, and subtweets sharp enough to cut glass.
See a situation 6 months after a situation. You see what I'm saying? You'll see some because it's outside. I'm in a public situation, so you're gonna see it when you see it, and then your opinion come then.
By late 2022, Quavo wasn't just tossing shade. He was dropping the whole iced out Christmas tree on her. Remember that messy track with Takeoff? Yeah, there was nothing subtle about it. He rapped, "Isha, please, 'cause she too messy. Please be of my dog behind my back, but I ain't stressing. Not at all. You went the gang. You should have just said it. We would have blessed it. Should have just said it." When that bar hit, the internet turned into a full-on crime lab. TikTok breakdowns, Reddit theories, YouTube deep dives, and every finger started pointing straight at Offset. That "should have just said it" line had folks doing detective math. Gang means Migos, and Migos means family. Suddenly the puzzle pieces locked in, and the drama got louder than ever. Quavo and Takeoff were out here riding in their own lane, while Offset was doing his own thing. And that one verse told us more about the Migos split than any press release ever could. Because if the dog really was Offset and the gang really meant Migos, then this wasn't just messy. This was the kind of betrayal you don't fix with a couple of diss tracks. And remember, Offset and Quavo aren't just industry partners. They're blood cousins. And if one of them got with the other's girl without that blessing, that's personal.
And I left went up, so I don't know how to expand.
So when whispers started swirling that Saweetie hooked up with someone in the crew, it wasn't just gossip. It was a straight shot at the brotherhood that built the Migos. And the timeline only made it messier, because before the breakup ever went public, TMZ dropped that bombshell elevator footage from a North Hollywood apartment complex. It was hard to watch. The clip ended with her on the ground while he just stood there, looking like he might have been hurt himself. And only weeks later, Saweetie dropped a tweet that shook the timeline. "I'm single. I've endured too much betrayal and hurt behind the scenes for a false narrative to be circulating that degrades my character. Presents don't band-aid scars. And love isn't real when the intimacy is given to other women." And no.
Recent video released by TMZ, the rappers are involved in a full-on physical scuffle while on an elevator. The surveillance footage was caught on camera at an apartment complex in North Hollywood.
Quavo didn't respond with an apology for what happened on camera. Instead, he clapped back. "I had love for you and disappointed you did all that. You were not the woman I thought you were. I wish you nothing but the best." Yeah, the cheating rumors were already wild, but then they went into overdrive. That's when celebrity stylist Khalil, better known as @Zaslim, tossed an online grenade with a tweet that made the streets go dead quiet. "Offset, do you really want to discuss husbands?" That was aimed straight at Cardi B, who had just been defending her man after he got slapped with weed and gun charges. The internet's reaction? Girl.
Gang, you should have just asked for it.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my said he say on the song, "Big cousin." Gang is referring to Migos, like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody in the gang.
Who exactly are you defending? Quavo didn't flat out confirm anything, but his bars might as well have been a signal flare, turning what was once seen as just the Migos' creative split into something way deeper. And fans started quoting Quavo's own lyrics about loyalty, because that's exactly what everyone believes was left bleeding on that elevator floor. Just when fans thought the tension between Quavo and Offset couldn't get any messier, the 2023 Grammys proved otherwise. Sources at the show claimed that right before Quavo hit the stage to perform Without You during the in memoriam tribute to Takeoff, he and Offset got into a full-on physical fight. They had to be pulled apart backstage. And yes, there's even a short clip floating around online showing both of them being calmed down afterward. Word is, Quavo allegedly blocked Offset from joining him on stage, and that's when tempers exploded. One camp swears Quavo threw the first move, but Offset hopped on X just hours later to shut it all down, posting, "What the F I look like fighting my brother?" People were saying the fans were crazy, but they weren't buying it.
Dodging the hit, and the two going toe-to-toe over what seems to be an orange Call of Duty case. The fight continues inside the elevator with Quavo dragging her inside, Saweetie taking a spill and seemingly being injured while the Migos rapper does nothing to help her. At one point, he seems to realize the camera has recorded their altercation, but still does nothing to assist Saweetie, who is still on the ground. This video, which apparently happened in 2020, is a shocking turn of events, which comes on the heels of news.
Many pointed out that at Takeoff's funeral months earlier, Quavo and Offset didn't speak, didn't make eye contact, and barely even acknowledged each other, even while both delivered emotional speeches. One person on X even posted, "Get your money and stay out of the way, bruh. Karma will do justice." The hope had been that Takeoff's passing might end the feud, but instead, it showed just how deep the cracks really were. Because if grief couldn't bring them together, maybe this was never just about music in the first place. And when the Offset and Edie rumors started heating up, everyone thought Cardi B would come out swinging. But she flipped the script and did the complete opposite. She went completely radio silent. And that just made people even more suspicious.
And you know that I was finding out that truth in and out. So it's like, if I entertain something that I know is not true on the internet, people be like, oh, it is true because you're addressing.
It wasn't until her sit down with Jason Lee that Cardi finally addressed the elephant in the room. She wouldn't confirm, wouldn't deny. And that calculated silence only made folks believe she already knew the real story, but wasn't about to hand it over to the blogs. In her words, it was growth, meaning the situation was bad. She just wasn't about to air her dirty laundry for the world to pick apart. But then came the Oscars after party tea. Reports started swirling that Cardi and Saweetie had a very public moment at the Vanity Fair event, and the whispers kicked right back up. According to an eyewitness, Cardi spotted Saweetie and walked straight up to her, yelling, "What you got to say now?" And it was giving full-on chaotic energy. But Saweetie didn't flinch. She kept her voice low, her demeanor icy, and refused to match Cardi's heat. She stayed classy, but she also didn't step back. Basically, Cardi was the one making all the noise, while Saweetie stood her ground without raising the volume. Later, Cardi hopped on IG Live, talking to someone on the phone, clearly keeping the conversation spicy.
Keep going longer and longer and longer. And at the end of the day, I know what's going on in my house.
Well, and you have no problem picking up a phone and calling to clear the air. But that's why I love that. That's the growth.
That same day, Saweetie went live on IG too. But instead of words, she flexed her millions in jewelry. To fans, that was confirmation without confirmation. Cardi might not have dropped the full truth, but she made sure the internet had something to chew on. And Saweetie, she made sure her power move was front and center. In a beef this layered, sometimes silence hits harder than any diss track. Let's get back to Quavo, because his rep took a nosedive once those first smash rumors lit up the internet. When Saweetie was with him, she was hip-hop's frosty queen. The McDonald's collab, the Crocs deal, all of it shining. But after the breakup, the headlines started hitting way different. First came the get your lick back era, paparazzi shots with Lil Baby, social media whispers, and PVO's camp calling it straight up disrespect. Fans labeled it pure city girl energy. But the streets? Oh, they had their own name for it, and it wasn't pretty. Then Chris Brown decided to stir the pot, dropping bars about their alleged fling while she was still with Quavo.
You know me. You don't play that. But I'll call you later because I'm on live. I'll tell you all the tea on it later. Bye.
On his track, he rapped, "Weakest S-Link. You the weakest S-Link out to your clique. You F my ex-hope. But that's cool. I don't give no F, because I F your ex when you was still with her. They say revenge is sweet. Now think about that ish." And here's the kicker. Saweetie didn't even deny it. When Quavo clapped back on O's and B's, she fired right back, posting DMs and letting off her own shots. But the drama didn't stop there. A blind item claimed she'd recently put hands on Quavo's baby mama, Erica Fontaine, after finding out he quietly had a child with her. And this was after the internet already believed she'd been with Offset.
Ran through by this nigga brother and homie.
I don't think slur is the right word. Homewrecker. You can say that. You
slut
feel
and
me?
whore. And once you are promiscuous after being a wifey, you now lose your reputation. It's now, right? You know, like you're no longer as popping, because right now we all view her as just an outright like whore, slur, right?
Add Lil Baby, Chris Brown, and Erica Fontaine into the mix, and the common thread was crystal clear. Every headline somehow pulled her name right back into Quavo and Offset's orbit, whether she wanted it or not. Saweetie's post-Migos chapter was never really her own. Sure, it's her roller coaster ride. But the real plot that's got the blogs buzzing right now is the beef between the cousins. After months of icy silence, Offset's new Joe Budden interview just ripped the Band-Aid off every old wound. And the way he was talking, it wasn't just about Stefon Diggs or some deep cause and effect conversation. It was given old history, raw and unfiltered. Even DJ Academics had to jump in and comment on the podcast, and here's what he said.
Yo, Offset done fuck, what is it? Saweetie, Christian Rock, Ari, like, yo, this is, yo, Offset was piping out chicks that Cardi was supposed to do music with.
Oh, and by the way, I've talked. Yo, picture this. Quavo catching Offset backstage somewhere, still heated after all that truth-telling. No cameras, no Grammy producers, nobody to break it up. Just a closed door, a couple sharp words, and tension thick enough to slice. Then boom. Voices rise, tempers flare, and security scrambles before they even realize who is in the middle of it. Because at this point, it's not about one verse or a rumor. It's about years of unspoken disrespect. About a brotherhood that went from diamond selling to dust. And yes, Saweetie is still the grenade sitting between them. As for a Migos reunion, let's be real. It would take a miracle.
See our career as a duo, you know what I'm saying? We just stand on loyalty, you know what I mean? We stand on real deal loyalty. And, you know, sometimes that shit ain't displayed. And this ain't got nothing to do with no label, no paperwork, no QC, no...
This Cold War is locked in, and with both men refusing to clear the air, the streets are left to write their own ending. So, did Offset just poke the bear with that interview? Or is Quavo holding on to a grudge he'll never let go of? And if this really is about Saweetie, could she ever fix it? Yo, just picture it. Quavo catching Offset backstage somewhere, still fired up from spilling his truth. No cameras, no Grammy producers, no one to jump in. Just a closed door, a couple sharp words, and tension so heavy you could cut it with a chain. Then boom, voices get loud, energy shifts, and security rushes in before they even realize who they're breaking up. Because at this point, it's not just about one verse or some rumor. This is years of unspoken disrespect. A brotherhood that went from diamond selling to straight dust. And yeah, Saweetie's name is still sitting there like a live grenade between them. As for a Migos reunion, let's keep it real. It'd take a miracle. This Cold War is locked tight, and with both men refusing to speak on it, the streets are left piecing the story together themselves. So tell me, did Offset just poke the bear with that interview? Or is Quavo holding on to a grudge he'll never let go of? And if this really is about Saweetie, could she ever even fix it? And if you've been following the drama, drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next messy update.